Hello everyone, welcome to Cove Media. Glad you're here today, whether you're here to watch, learn, or you're just trying to decompress for a little bit. Glad you're here, and we're going to get right into it today. So, we've been working on our Pong game. We've cleaned up and added some things last lesson. We've changed it up so that we have several game states. We have our title screen, our actual play space, and then our game over screen. And so today we're going to be expanding on that just a little bit. We're going to be adding a pause screen. So whether you just need to take a quick break, you need to go do something, or you need to quickly wrap up a game, you can do that. So we're going to get right into it. First things first, as always, we're going to confirm that our code is still working. There we go. Got our title screen. We're going to hit enter, our play space. Just going to let myself lose here real quick. Oh, there we go. Not quite sure what happened with that little bit. Still, there's always weird bugs that occur. So here, it's asking space to restart. Go back to our title screen, enter, and we can keep on going. So from here, just going to stop our game, and we're going to get right into adding what we need to add. So first things first, we're going to be adding 2 new constant variables. So I'm going to come up here. Actually, we're going to be adding 3. I'm sorry. So first thing is our overlay color, and so this is going to be the background for our pause menu. So we're just going to set it to the same as our game background. You could just use that same background over again, but just in case you wanted to do something different, we're going to be creating it, making it its own variable, and if you want to come back and change that, you can. So next we're going to be adding 2 buttons today. So we're just going to create a button color, and this is actually going to be gray. And so whenever you're creating a gray color, your RGB values, which are these right here, which goes red, then green, and then blue, you just set them all to the same value, and that will give you a gray. And then last thing is we want button text, and this is the color for the button text, and it's going to be black. So 000. All right, and so that's all we're going to be adding up here today. So along with the running, or I'm sorry, adding the pause game state, we're going to be making some adjustments to the code, specifically to our running section at the very top. And this is to make other additions down the line in these next few lessons to get ready for those. So we're going to come down here. So first things first is we're going to be changing this up a little bit. So we're actually going to be taking this pygame.event.get and we're going to be pulling it out into its own variable at the very top, and we're just called events. And that's because we're going to be using this a lot more, and it's easier for us if we can just create a variable and we can reuse it multiple times than having to type out this whole thing every time we need it. And so what's going to happen here, we're just going to say for event in events, because that is our variable name. Otherwise it works the same. Now in our game states, so we have this right here, this keys equal pygame dot key get pressed. We're actually going to be pulling that completely out. You can actually see it here too in the play state. So we're actually going to be taking this and pulling it out. Dot key dot get, because it's something we use across all of our game states, and so we can actually just pull it out and we'll reuse this one variable instead of calling it each and every time. So this just cleans up our code a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to read, and we don't need to have this every time that we need it. And so we can actually just come down here and clear that out. All right. And so that's just the little bit of cleanup we're going to do, and it will help get ready for our other additions in the next few lessons. So we're just going to scroll down. And so we're going to be adding our new game state down here in between this up here. This is our play game state, and here's our game over. And so we're just going to be adding it in between. So what we're going to do, we're just going to create a new elif, and we're going to call our game state. And here, if our game state is pause, this is what it's going to do. So first thing, we can create an overlay, which is just exactly what it is. It's just more or less a new background that's going to be over our current one, and specifically it's going to be over our play game state. We just want it to fit all the way over. All right. And then we're going to fill it. Well, define our fill, which we define that at the very top. So if you want to change the color of it, you can very easily just go to what we created up top and just modify it. And then we got to send it to our screen. We're going to send our overlay variable, and we're just going to give it a position of 0, 0, which will just set it to the same corner the existing screen's at. And now I am actually getting ahead of myself. So we actually have to scroll back up because I forgot we are going to create two new objects we'll be using as buttons. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I am sorry. So we're going to scroll up to our main, and we're going to be adding it in between our font and our game objects. And speaking of font, we're going to have to create it. We're going to be creating a second font. We're just going to call it small font because what we currently have will not fit neatly inside the buttons we're going to be making. So we're just going to call it small font, and you can create however many fonts you would like to make. In this case, we're only adding one additional. It's called pygame.font with a big F, none, and that's just we're not giving it a specific font to use. And we're just going to set this value to 36. Now we're going to create our two buttons, or what we'll be using as buttons. So we're going to have a resume button. And we're defining where they're going to be on the screen and then the size of them. They're going to be very similar, except for they're going to be stacked on top of each other. And that's where the only difference between what we're typing out is going to be. So our resume button will be on top. We're going to want it 200, not 100 pixels wide and 50 pixels tall. And our quit button will be very similar. Same height, or width and height. The only difference here, well, we're setting the position. We're pushing it 20 pixels down, but otherwise it is going to be the same thing. All right. So now we can come back down to our pause game state. And we can draw them to our screen. So just tell it we want it on our screen. We wanted our button color. And we're going to be using the resume button. Same thing with our quit. There we go. So we will test it in just a moment. But we're going to be, so we've thrown the button itself, the rectangle we are using as our button will be thrown on the screen, but we also got to create text to add on there. So we're going to create two variables, a resume text and a quit text. And this is where our new font size comes in, our new font we created. So it's going to be resume. It's going to be set, and this is where our text color we created, our button text. It's quit. It's true, and it is using the button text as well. Which may have been better to call it button text color, but I was just trying to keep our variable names from being too crazy. So these are also going to get drawn to the screen, screen.lit, or sent to it. So we are sending our resume text, and we're sending our resume text to the screen, and then we are telling it where we want it. And so in this case, we're going to get the rectangles that are on there already, and we're just going to be centering the text in the center of those rectangles. And same thing for the quit. Alrighty. So now the basis for our pause screen is there. So now we're going to scroll back up. Actually, a little too far. We're going to scroll up to our play game state. And we're going to be adding just a little bit to it. We're going to be adding this at the very top. And here, we're going to say for events. Oh, let me line up my tabs. For event in events. If our event type, if our user presses a key, and if I can spell. I'm getting way ahead of myself. There we go. And in this case, we're going to be using the escape key. You can use the P key if you want. Again, you can really use any key you would like, but in this case, we're going to be using kind of what I think most people would be used to, using your escape key to pause. All right. We're going to change our game state to pause. All right, so let's see, make sure we're going to test it. We're going to make sure everything's working. We don't have anything super crazy going on. All right. Enter. Game starts. I hit oh. Obviously I messed something up. And that's why we test. What did I do here? I am looking. I promise I did this earlier, and I don't know why it's throwing an error. Alright, well people, I'm going to be right back because I got to see what I did wrong. Alright everyone, I'm right back. I realized what I did wrong. That's why you see this parenthesis right here, this close? It's not supposed to be right there. It's supposed to be right there. And that's why you gotta watch out what you're typing. It's also because it's in the pause game state, we didn't see it till we tried to go and pause the game. Oh, there we go. It does work. It actually works. I wasn't completely out of my mind like I thought I was. But problem is we can't get out of the pause menu yet, but we're going to fix that real quick. Going to stop our game. And so now we're in the home stretch for today. But now we just have to add all the events to finish making everything work. So for event in events, if our event type is pygame.quit, so if the game's just trying to exit out, running equals false. Now you can, in most games today, you hit escape to go to your pause menu, but you can also hit escape to go back out of the pause menu, go back to playing your game. So that's what we're going to set up. .type. Again, we're looking to make that a key is pressed. That's what key down is doing. And we're telling it we want to have it look for a specific key. In this case, we are using our escape key. And all this is going to do, it's going to take our game state and change it back to play. And then one more elif, and this, with the buttons on our pause screen, we're going to be using our mouse to actually use them. So we're going to event type, in this case we're going to do pygame mouse button down, and event button, where overall we're defining it that we want the left mouse button to be used. Oh, see the little red squiggly line? There we go. So if the resume button is clicked, the collide point position, we're going to change our game state back to play. Oh, nope. But if elif, our quit button, is pressed, we're going to quit out the game. We're just going to set running to false. Alright. So now I'm going to make sure everything's running. Alright, we're going to hit enter. Okay, the game still runs. A little bit of a glitch there. We can pause, hit escape again. We can hit resume, we go back, hit escape, hit quit, the game closes out. Everything's working like it's supposed to be. Well, there we go. We have our pause menu. We have all the functionality around that is now in our game. We have cleaned some stuff up in our code, and we've getting ready for the next edition. So next lesson we'll actually be adding a difficulty modifier for the AI, and which not only is us it'll require us to change some things in the code and also change our start menu so the player can choose the difficulty that they want to play. Well, again, I thank you, all of you, for stopping by today. Hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Have a good one.